Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Lara Devgan, and we have today an amazing guest on my podcast, Amy Burstyn-Fritz. You are the founder of Misette, a modern tableware company and entertaining brand known for its colorful, fashion-forward approach to hosting. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Laura.
Well, I was just speaking with you earlier about the name of your brand. So before we go any further, let's talk about it. What is Misette, and give us a little intro to the company.
Right, so Misette, my sister and I co-founded. It's a COVID baby.
Okay.
And we both actually come from an events background and marketing, branding. I worked with tons of luxury brands. So when we set out to do Misette, it was really, events had shut down, dinner parties were all the thing, and we started kind of curating these very bespoke events for a lot of our clients who normally, would be large corporate clients and luxury brands, but everyone was kind of looking inward at home. And honestly, it was supposed to launch as a pet project. Well, events shut down. She's still the head of events for the Met, so the Met Gala wasn't happening. I wasn't doing events. It was kind of on lockdown, and we launched it. It was in my mom's basement. I convinced her to outfit her entire basement and garage as our warehouse, and I said, it's going to be part of the founder's story. Don't you want to be in this? And we launched in May of 2021, so we just had our 5th birthday, and 3 months in, it took off. Nordstrom had just launched their flagship in New York. They had a 6,000 square foot home store there, and they did a $200,000 wholesale buy and gave us 1,500 square feet, Misette branded, in their space.
What an amazing break.
It was they found us on Instagram.
Oh, they found you.
Zero advertising. We did have a big launch article in Vogue. I have a PR background, so we had pitched this great story. We launched, we hadn't done any paid anything. We've been, we're bootstrapping it. And yeah, they found us on Instagram and, can you produce all this? We were in my mom's basement. Nothing. I was like, of course, yes, we'll make it happen. I come from a production logistics background, and you just figure it out. But we had to upfront capital to produce that. We had to restructure everything because Nordstrom probably has the highest standards of any retailer. They have 100+ page manual of how you have to structure everything. If you label something wrong.
Yes.
So.
Yes, we retail at Nordstrom, and
You
they're
do.
very specific, but it's an amazing partner.
It's amazing. And what was the best part of it? Is because we were 3 months old, we didn't really have infrastructure anyways. So we basically built the infrastructure around the strictest, premium standards of any brand. So when we then grew, and we grew very quickly right around that time, Lauren Santo Domingo from Moda Operandi also found us, and we did a Misette for Moda Operandi collection of tableware. So it really actually was such a blessing because it forced us to structure our business right from the start as, a 10x business when we were babies in a garage. So
I feel like tableware is so important because more and more people are wanting to entertain at home. That third spaces have either become private members clubs, or they're impossible to get into and there's no spontaneity, or they're too impersonal and too easy to get into. And I think the home has been a refuge this whole time. Do you see this as part of a greater interest in people entertaining at home?
Yeah, so for me, I come from a fashion aesthetic background. Everything I look at comes down to aesthetics, but I'm also very strategic. I look at why people buy what they buy, what they need, what they actually want in the market space. And so I am freakish amount of tableware research, and it's actually really interesting. So COVID definitely drew tableware purchases in home because there was like a 70+% increase in dining at home, which has stayed since COVID. But actually the bigger thing that has driven up tableware sales, it has increased. It was around 2019. That's when Nordstrom, Net-a-Porter, Forward, Shop Up, all of them started carrying tableware around 2019. And it was really actually fueled by social media. So it's crazy. Between 2019 and 2024, the hashtag Tablescape on Instagram went up 1,900%. It went from 100,000 posts to over 2 million posts.
Amazing.
And it's really, people are, one, wanting to entertain and have more in-person experiences, which was COVID, but it's also just, everything's so online now. They want these like physical, in-person touch experiences. But it's also that entertaining is such an expression of self. And kind of like fashion, I'm a fashion girl at heart, so I always bring it back to that. I always say fashion's an expression of yourself. Tableware is the expression that you want to give to other people. So it's really almost like a love letter to your guests, to the experience, to what you want to create in your surroundings, to your family. It's really special.
If someone's listening to this and they're not experienced in creating a beautiful tablescape, what would you say are the most essential components if you're hosting your first dinner party?
So that's a great question. So actually, essentially how we design my set, because there are dishware brands, there are glassware brands, we do the whole table. So all of our pieces, we do glassware, cutlery, linens, dishware. So you could kind of set everything with my set piece, and we designed it where it's really easy. You set it, forget it. Coming back to the name, my set, it's a mix of mise en scène and vignette. So we see the table as a canvas, and everything goes together, but it's not matchy-matchy. It's really how you make it, and that's why we pronounce it my set, because you can take a piece and mix it with your grandmother's china or your white dishes and give it different flavor based on how you want to sort of express yourself. So when we launched, we really thought we were going to be an easy solution. Everything's there for people who didn't know how to set their table. And what's funny is we got hardcore tableware people. They were like, I didn't realize the market of tableware until we launched. Like, we had no advertising. Our first store, we launched 12 o'clock, 12:05, big order came in. I'm like, how do they even find us? And I actually contacted, it was a tableware influencer in Texas, and she is just an interior designer for tableware. I have clients that have hosting closets. I'm actually building my own hosting closet right now, which is, it's like a pantry, but it's cooler. It's like like your clothing closet walk-in, but for tableware. And people are like, that's so interesting. A lot of people do it. I have so many clients that have full entertaining spaces just to house their tableware, kind of the same as you would for your clothing. And it is actually such a passion for so many people. And then for the people who don't know, because tableware is incredibly intimidating, I always say, it's funny because I see it when I'm working with customers, and we start to set the table and they want everything and I love it, I'm gonna wait, or I don't know what to buy, or I don't have the storage. And so what I always say is just build slow. Start with something easy. Start with a napkin set that you can just add into your existing mix. Don't try to redo your whole table. And actually, to that point, I have a bit of a qualm with the old school method of setting the table, in that you have one set, you register for your wedding, and then it's what you set every single time. The way we've built our collections is that we really want it to be something where you can set a new table with a new napkin. We Pantone match across collections. The way we can do it is it's mix and match, so you can either find your pieces that go together in a way that you like, or every season we have a super high repeat customer rate, because they'll just come back and buy a napkin set of 4. And they don't even need 12 napkins, because you just mix that 4 in with the other pieces you already have, and you can layer and slowly collect, almost like art.
That's amazing. Do you feel like there's a single anchoring piece to a good tablescape, like a table runner or a candlestick, or like what's your kind of aesthetic philosophy of how a table should feel in terms of its vibe?
That is a great question. So I think similar to a wardrobe, again, I'm going to use a fashion analogy, you need your anchoring pieces. So you need your LBDs, your little black dress of the table. I think the linens are the base of the table. Dishes are also a base of the table. Find your pieces that are your anchoring pieces and then build from there. So I often say, dishes, maybe you want a little bit more neutral. And then linens, they're easy to store. It's like more like clothing. You can, transition those. You can make a white dish really fun, with a colorful napkin, and then transition that out. So I think it's like, have your staple pieces. It'd be like having a wardrobe. Have your little black dress, have your, your shoes that are just like black loafers, and then build from there. And you can kind of graduate, our more adventurous customers, like I have some that have the hosting closets, have really colorful, I have 8 sets of tableware in my hosting closet
like
right now.
Everything down from dinner plate to salad plate to matching.
Oh, I have 8 sets of plates. I have I don't want to know how many sets of linens I have. I try not to keep all my stuff because it's a bit of a, a habit, but No, I think you just build from there, and don't think about it as much as like, I need to have my whole collection now. Like, you're not building your whole wardrobe in one shot. You're building it over time. You find pieces that resonate with you. It shouldn't be for Instagram. It should be pieces that feel special, that when you lay them down, your guests really feel like you've set that for them, and like it's telling a bit of a story about who you are and what kind of moment you want to create.
Is there a particular bestseller or a couple of bestsellers that stand out for you from Misette?
Yeah, so we launched with this, our collection, we call it the Color Block collection, it's the Squiggles, and we sold out in a week. And we had done no advertising, I was freaking out. I actually purchased a freakish amount of these. And all my friends who are business owners said, I'm sure it's fine. How much did you purchase? And then I told them, and they're like, ooh. And so I panicked a little bit because I really shot my shot on these Color Block linens. But luckily, the gamble paid out on that one, and they sold out again. And we just keep selling.
How many did you get? A lot.
We had 4 different colorways, and I bought 1,000 of each.
Wow.
You're supposed to stock about 100.
Yeah.
Especially as a startup brand with 0 advertising. Anyways, it did really well. Then one of the first collections, we had this mix of, it was a blue and amber sort of tan placemat, and blue and white is the most popular color of tableware. Actually, China traditionally was blue and white, and we had a lot of customers saying, we want blue and white, we want blue and white. So I kind of, we developed then this new color block color that we thought would be, supersede the blue and amber and kind of be the new blue amber, and instead they both became bestsellers. Then we came up with the green color block. And so I call those ones the little black dress at the table. They're like the foundation pieces. They go with modern, they go with traditional. You can put your Limoges on it. You can put your Hermes on it. You can put your white Crate and Barrel on it. Whatever you want to put on it, it goes, and it can sort of transition. And then from there, build to more fun pieces, start to have some personality, but start slow. And that's really, it shouldn't be, think about it like art, think about it like jewelry. Actually, I had an Elle Decor editor when we first launched, was interviewing us, and he said, it's like the jewelry of the table, the jewelry of the home. You can have a little bit more fun with tableware than I think you might be with a dining table or with a wallpaper that's more permanent. So have some fun with it.
Yeah, the thing I really love about your brand, and also just the concept of elevating dining, is that it's a totally routine act, right? We all do this 3 times a day, sometimes more. And it makes it more special. It elevates the ordinary to the monumental by making it a little bit more deliberate. And those become memorable moments for you in photos or for birthdays or just for a regular dinner. So I think life is so short, right? That making moments out of ordinary things becomes a luxury.
Absolutely. And that's where, again, we were a COVID baby. So when we launched, it was right at that transition where everyday dining was the thing. That is all people really had to do. And so they elevated that. But I also grew up, so my grandmother was the OG tableware gal. She, her biggest compliment to someone was they said, a beautiful table. And then my mom had 4 children, and her whole thing was you collect art, jewelry, and tableware. And so she actually collected tableware because she needed enough to pass down to 4 children. Similarly, I have 2 daughters, and they already know, they're 7 and 9. They know where to put the knife, where to put the fork. They talk about taking over my set. They talk about which pieces that they want to keep, everything like that. And I think there's this really lovely transition from generations of using tableware. And I think before that, people really didn't use nice pieces every day because they thought it would get ruined or they have kids. I will tell you, I've been using proper tableware, porcelain dishes, glasses with my children since they were very little. They've never broken anything. And you know who breaks it? My husband, because he didn't grow up in a household where they use porcelain dishes, and he's broken more tableware than any of my children ever have.
On the topic of children, how do you suggest people introduce children to not only excellent table manners, but also approaches to setting the table? And I have 6 kids myself, so I have my own thoughts about this, but I'm just curious if you have any little hacks for people listening. Like, how do you get your kid to sit nicely at the table? How do you teach them some of the basics?
So Table manners, working on that. But I definitely think involving them in what you're doing, people often don't, assume that kids want to set the table or do these tasks. It's really fun for them. I actually catch my kids taking my tableware and playing with their dolls with my tableware. I work from home, so when my kids come home, my daughter who's 9 will bring her friends. I hear them downstairs and she's like, these are my mom's dishes. She's bragging about my tableware to a bunch of 9-year-olds. They really appreciate those pieces. And I think for me, that's how I grew up. My mom was the big tableware queen. She collected, but not only did she collect, every dinner there was a job. She was everyone's been at a dinner party at my mom's house. She would host, she'd come for Sunday dinner, and you'd show up and there's 20 people, the table's set, but really in a warm and iconic way. She really was about bringing people together, and everyone had a job. So of my 4 siblings, one set the cutlery, one set the dinnerware. I actually do that with my kids now. I give them jobs, and it's almost like fun for them where they can, choose which napkin to use. I'll actually give them more agency over that and say, how do you want to do the napkin fold this time? And they get excited about different, it almost brings up their creativity. And I think in general, tableware isn't an adult thing. Tableware is an everything thing. It's not a woman thing. It is everyone eats, everyone loves tableware. It is really universal.
Yeah, I think tableware also sometimes gets a bad rap for being snobbish, but good table manners, and I often talk to my kids about this, good table manners are just about being a nice and accommodating person. And if you think about sort of the idea historically and socially about breaking bread with someone is, you're sharing, you're being respectful, you're holding space for the other person and their thoughts and opinions. And so some of my little hacks that I've used in my house are, we love the bread and drink. I always teach my kids do you know about this?
No, tell me.
Like this. You make an okay sign with both hands, and this is a B and this is a D. So your bread plate is over here and your drink is over here. So the kids will always, when we're at a restaurant or when we're at the dining table, they'll always go like this to make sure that they're not eating someone else's bread or some drink.
All right, you're a tableware girl.
So bread and drink. So that's one good tip if you have kids who are trying to figure this out.
Yeah, love it. It's like left and right.
We talk about your napkin and your lapkin as your first step. So the kids love
rhyming,
that.
great. Yeah.
And then the kids love the concept of eating out to in. So the salad and then the dinner fork and knife and so forth. And so those are little ways that, rather than being exclusionary, I think it sort of lets everyone participate in the same type of choreography. So I think that kind of stuff is fun.
Yeah, we also, so one of my things I love doing is when we decide I will put inanimate objects on, say, a linen, and kind of put different pieces, a glass on a coaster, really, juxtapose a soft good and a hard good. We have these amazing placemats, and we actually just came out with another version, and it actually has where the fork and the spoon and the cutlery goes mapped out in a sort of
cute
line drawing way. So it's almost like a paint by numbers, but for tableware, and it's done in a very Picasso line drawing style. It's called the line drawing collection.
How
and
adorable.
It makes it fun for them because they actually see, oh, this is where I put it, and then they can have sort of a framework to build around. And honestly, a lot of adults don't know where to put it too.
I was recently at a dinner with a bunch of adults and somebody ate my bread, and I felt like, okay, I'm just gonna stay here and be hungry because I can't pass it along. But everyone could have used your diagram-based tablescape.
I also like to so I accidentally minored in psychology in university because I just
As one does.
I actually didn't know. I took too many courses and they're like, you minored. But I love understanding what makes people tick, what they actually value, and kind of explaining things in a way that makes sense for them. So when I'm taking my kids through tableware and how to do it, I actually explain it in a way that's kind of just logical. Where do you put the glass? How would you drink a glass? If you're right-handed, are you drinking the glass with your right hand or are you drinking it with the left? When you're looking at, the fork, the knife, there's sort of parameters around it based on how you actually eat. even which goes first, it all actually goes in a sequence. So if you give them the logical why, and it's pretty basic, it's just, human behavior, it actually resonates with them. And they're 7 and 9 now, but I've been doing it. They knew how to set the table when they were 4 and 6 and on. They were, far ahead of most adults at that point.
I love that. Are you more of a flowers person or candlesticks or both?
Oof. So I'm all the things. So I love candlesticks. We actually just came out with, so candles have always been one of our best sellers. We had these amazing tapers. I find that when I have a product that there's a bit of a gap in, it bothers me. I want to solve problems. So the problem I had with tapers is that, do you have the holders? Do the holders match the tapers? Do they all go together? So we actually just came out with a new candle, and it's a full wax piece. You're actually going to get one later.
Oh,
yeah.
Yay.
It's very cool. We just
I love
launched
a nice
it.
table, by the way.
We have a couple pieces for you, Lara, that you're going to like. But it's all one. So the base, the candle, and you can just stick it on the table. You can put it in a shelfie, and it's
cool.
beautiful. It's 12-hour burn, so it'll last your whole dinner party. But I do like flowers too, and I think you can mix it up. And sometimes I'll do, formal flowers. I mean, I come from an events background, so I used to do the most insane floral arrangements. It was rooms full of flowers in the most artistic ways. So I'm a huge flower girly. But I think that sometimes too, like, you don't have time to get a proper bouquet, pull a plant in from your home. Like, it's really about how you make it your own and integrate those in. And then actually, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this because we haven't launched it yet, but we're launching a really exciting new wireless table lamp, because I think that is going to be a big new thing. And obviously big in restaurants, but really coming to the home as a proper piece that you can set as a center. So
my husband loves those. Whenever he is more in charge of the tablescape, he'll use wireless table lamps, and whenever I'm in charge, I'll put candles. But anyway, they're both nice.
We want to be something for everybody's sensibility, but within our own framework. We have a Misette aesthetic, and we have a sensibility there that we always follow. I find there is not as much variety in the wireless table lamp world. There's tons of them, but they're mostly the metal ones, or they have a shade that's a fabric. What we're designing is a little bit different. And honestly, it's based on what I've heard from other people and what I just want myself in my kitchen. I'm renovating my kitchen right now. I'm building out a hosting closet for myself because I was jealous of all my clients who had the most amazing hosting closets, and that's where I'm going to entertain. Lara, you're welcome to come. I'll invite you over.
I will be sure to be there. How do you balance all of these different competing aesthetic sensibilities? Because I think for a while there, we saw luxury go into a sort of bland beige white blank space, and we've also seen exaggerated colors go all the way off in the other direction where they're very, very young seeming. But I think with Misette, you've really captured keeping entertaining both elevated and fun and playful. So how do you think about the aesthetics of it all? And when you're thinking about new designs, what's your thought process?
So what's really great, my sister and I co-founded Misette together, and we are 8 years apart, and we are very different aesthetically. We both love fashion, design, art, and aesthetics. We have very different sensibilities. She is Brooklyn, arty, eclectic, very colorful. I would probably err more on the safe side. I jokingly say white walls, she's brick walls. And between the two of us, we really kind of come together to create something that works on both levels. And we really want to make sure that everything we do follows our Misette aesthetic in general. So when we first launched, we had 3 very different looks. We had the color block collection, as I mentioned. We had a leafy collection we called monochrome, and we had a marble looking collection we called natural. And it was supposed to be something for everybody. And it was the former head of brand for Gucci, and I love feedback. I mean, all the feedback. I will take it in, figure out how to use it, what to use, what not to use. And she said something that really struck. It was in the first 6 months. She looked on our website and she said, I don't know who you are or what you're for. There's 3 very different looks here. I need to look at a My Set piece and know it's My Set without looking at the label. And that really struck home. And so from there, we built out our collections and our aesthetic based on some core values and principles, which is, art, travel, really something special, like feels like something special you collected on your travels, but rooted in that sort of color block aesthetic as our base, as our little black dress along the way. And I think I actually come from a marketing branding background, so we created brand guidelines for our products like you would for your brand. So, there needs to be this level of aesthetic. These are the Pantones we use. We don't stray from those. If we're creating a new Pantone or color that we're mixing, it is well thought out and it's going to be part of the ecosystem. So anything that we bring in new to the ecosystem has to be fitting within those brand guidelines, our values, who we're for, what we're trying to do, in the same way you would any brand.
Where do people discover you?
So, we've just started to look at maybe doing advertising paid at this point. People have found us a lot on Instagram. A lot of people who are in the know, we're a little bit different than other brands. So a lot of, interior designers, retailers, people who are tableware connoisseurs, and there are a lot of them, they find us. We've actually found a lot on, just online. I always ask, where do you find us? And it's generally either, online, through an interior designer, through a retailer. We've had lots of amazing people that have posted about us and just love the brand. It's all been organic. We've never paid for anything. And they follow those people and they trust those people. They like the aesthetic, or they are those people, and they kind of just find us.
That's amazing. What are your plans and next steps for the company?
So we just launched our My Set Reserve sub-brand, which is bespoke My Set pieces for hospitality, hotels, restaurants, private residences. So that's really exciting. We're going to be able to really customize and create a unique and bespoke experiences for these experiential spaces. And always new collections. So we release new collections every season. That's really exciting. And then we also, mostly in the US right now, but we just launched internationally. We opened our warehouse in the Netherlands. We did our first international trade show. So Maison Objet, which is the foremost trade show for home and decor in Paris. We were in the signature section, which is the highest section you can be in. There are no small brands like us in this section. I worked so hard to get us in there. I actually refused to be in any other section but signature. They finally, I jokingly say I use the green eggs and ham method, where I was have it on a plane, in a boat, on a train. And finally they're like, just fine, do it. Obviously we qualified, but so we just launched in Paris end of January, and we're now in Browns, UK, Lane Crawford in Hong Kong. We're expanding into Dubai and all internationally. So it's really about bringing My Set to the world in these iterations that really stay true to our values.
How big is the brand now, or in whatever metric you feel comfortable sharing? There are many answers to that question, but free-form answer.
It's funny because we get asked a lot, can you sponsor this? Can you pay? We're baby still. I mean, we've been, we just had our 30th Vogue hit. We're in pretty much every major luxury retailer in the US and boutique. We look like a huge brand online. We're still, usually, I always joke, when they're like, who does your this? It's me. We're still pretty small and we're still bootstrapping. We are actually in our first investment round. So excited to expand and actually take that brand, beyond the people who find us, and really going out and presenting ourselves more broadly to our community. But we're still in the bootstrapping stage, even though we appear big online. So I would say that is part of our growth plans, and in the next year, huge plans to grow both within hospitality, international sales, and direct to consumer as well.
Well, I love what you're doing. It's beautiful, elevated, understated, elegant, all my favorite things. Where can everyone find you?
So we're online, misettetable.com, MISETTE, for those, just because it doesn't sound like it's spelled. And we're in over 120 luxury retailers in the US. We're online on most of these, in-store, New York. We're a lot of different places. But online, if you want to know where a specific product is, we have so many different product offerings too. So different boutiques are able, similar to customers, can carry their own assortment. But we are a little bit of everywhere right now, definitely in the US and expanding internationally. And online, we ship everywhere in the world. So
thank you so much. This has been so fun chatting with you, and I can't wait to check out all that you have to offer.
Thanks, Lara. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.